This is Paul Page with Steve Evans, and we're at Firebird Raceway in Phoenix, Arizona for the Castrol GTX Fall Nationals. The semifinal round of funny cars as Scott Coletta spins up the tires and is ready to go to war against Raymond Beadle.
And a tremendous amount of fuel being consumed in these cars. Nitromethane, it's called, at $24 a gallon. They will use a total of $300 worth of fuel from the time they start that car for the burnout till they shut it off at the other end. We mentioned alcohol before at $1.76 a gallon. Racing gasoline is $4.50 a gallon. But nitromethane, wow, that is liquid gold.
Of course, when you're talking the top classes of the sport of drag racing, funny car, top fuel, pro stock, you're talking extraordinarily expensive equipment tuned right to the edge. It's really expensive to run these machines.
And with nitro in the tank, they're among, in fact, they are the most violent of all racing cars. Our colleague Brock Yates refers to them as Formula Harry. Scott Coletta over in the far lane, inching forward. That top yellow light is a pre-stage. That'll just let him know he's in starting line proximity. Raymond Beadle following suit, neither driver wanting to inconvenience the other. Starter buster couch between the cars. He'll make sure that that doesn't happen. They're off. Scott Coletta is ahead. Scott Coletta with the lead. He hazes the tires, loses traction, and that allows Raymond Beadle to come from behind. Beadle at 587, 241. Coletta, what a game try. His best day in funny car racing, a 599 at 242.
Well, really, Scott had him coming off the line. He moved first, really started to roll out. Beadle was on the charge playing catch-up, but look at the car in the far lane. You see that telltale wisp of blue smoke at the back of the car. It means the back wheels are spinning ever so slightly, but just enough to let the Beadle get ahead.
Well, Raymond Beadle had lane choice. He put Coletta over there, knowing that traditionally here at Firebird, that lane, as the day goes on, just is not quite as good as the right, and it proved to be the case here. But still, Scott made Raymond work for it.
Good little race there. 587, 241.
Yeah, the car still went out and shook a little bit. It was a little sluggish off the starting line, but like I said, we're still getting there. We're consistently, I wouldn't say the fast car, but
throughout the day.
But I mean, we're having a little bit of trouble with the fuel system. We keep juggling it, and we get closer, but I mean, we're still off.
Final round isn't bad, though.
No, we'll take it any way we can get it. And like I said, the Kodiak cars has been running pretty good, and we haven't been hurting anything. That's the main thing, and at least we are in the final.
All right, good
Thank
luck.
you.
The second race in a row that Raymond Beadle has made it to the final round. He hopes to have better results here today. He was beaten by Ed McCullough at the Cheap Auto Parts Texas Nationals. All right, who is Raymond going to face in the final? Will it be the red Ford Thunderbird of Mark Oswald? Well, it could be, but I'll tell you what, Dom the Snake Prudhomme may have something to say about that, because that will be Oswald's opponent. Mark Oswald, the #1 qualifier, and so far has had things his way. There's the Snake, burnout completed.
Well, the question, I think, now is going to be one of who gets lane choice in each case. In this particular case, Mark Oswald has the near lane. That's the one that just provided a win for Raymond Beadle. The other lane, you saw the tires hazed. That could have been contributed to by the nature of the surface. So this will tell the tale. Which lane do you want? Which one will win?
Well, what happens, Paul, the lanes can be very equal in qualifying, even in first round. But the more rubber that is laid down, particularly on a very hot day with the sun beating down on the asphalt, that rubber in one lane or the other can start to ball up a bit. And it's almost like running on marbles. And that is the condition to a certain degree over in that far lane, where the Snake is right now.
Of course, if there is a man who can read it, Don Prudhomme is certainly that man. Years and years of experience.
And when you get in a situation like this, they'll do that dry burnout. If they see the tires haze a little bit, oftentimes the driver will leave the starting line actually still holding the handbrake full on to try to keep those tires from smoking, to slow down the wheel speed a little bit, and then he'll gradually release that brake.
Semi-final round, funny car. The winner of this matchup will face Raymond Beadle in the finals. There is Mark Oswald, that bright red Thunderbird, inches his way up to the line. On the far side, Don Prudhomme. The crew walks away. They are both alone now. Concentration on the Christmas tree. Now Don Prudhomme begins to inch his way forward and pulls into the lights. Both cars now moving to final position. They are both ready to go. Concentration on the tree. Light goes green, and look at Oswald. He absolutely nails it all the way to the finish line. It's Mark Oswald with a winning 5:55 263 miles an hour. Don Perdome with a 630, 165 as he shuts her down.
Mark Oswald was like a bullet off the starting line. The most impressive run of the day, to be sure. So, in the final round, it's going to be Mark Oswald with lane choice over Raymond Beadle. Beadle is not going to like that news. And I don't have to tell anybody where Mark Oswald wants to be.
Well, Steve, here's the man that will face Raymond Beadle in the final round. Mark Oswald, a 555, 263 as the snake shuts down against you.
Yeah, we're happy with that. We just like to see the Motorcraft Thunderbird in the final. You know, Raymond's a good friend, and I'm sure he'll give us a hell of a race.
He's been having a little bit of problem almost every run. Your day by comparison.
Yeah, you know, our car's been nice and steady and quite a bit quicker, but his car is just fast enough, and, you know, he's going to put pressure on us not to make any mistakes.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Mark Oswald, Raymond Beadle, final round. Steve?
Well, I'll tell you, that boy Oswald is no prima donna driver. He'll be under that car, all over that car. He's a fine mechanic, as is the crew that has prepared this car for the next round of Top Alcohol Dragsters. That is the Eldon P. Slick Mount. They're just about ready. Stay with us.
We're back at the Castrol GTX Fall Nationals from Firebird Raceway in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Paul Page with Steve Evans, and we're ready for Top Alcohol Dragster. Denny Lucas sits in the cockpit, contemplating his confrontation to come with Alan Johnson.
And you know, Paul, the alcohol dragsters don't pound the ground and make the thunder that the nitro fuel cars do. But I really love the sound of these machines. Next time you go to an NHRA championship drag race, sit down towards the end of the bleachers and listen to the alcohol cars come towards you. Cars like Alan Johnson, because without all the exhaust noise, you can actually hear the whine of the supercharger. You can hear the gears being changed. It's just a different sound, but it's like music almost.
These cars face an interesting problem now, Steve. The temperatures have gone above 90 degrees, 93 degrees right now. Now, these are alcohol-fueled cars. They use the alcohol to cool the engine down, so they want to put plenty of fuel into the engine. But when it gets hot like this, they have a question. Do they have to lean the engine out? And if they do that, are they giving up power and are they endangering the engine?
Well, that's a decision that each crew chief has to make on his or her own. One thing with these cars, it's not like a nitro car. You say, well, just instead of running 90% nitro, we'll run 99%. Or we'll drive the blower a little harder or advance the ignition timing. But with these cars, everything that can be done was done before it ever came out of the trailer. They are running at maximum all the time. And a little bit of tuning on the fuel system, as you mentioned, that's about all the leeway they have here. That and real good driving.
One thing that the category has is driving. Because they're using the engines that they are, they need just a little bit more help from the gearbox. So now we're running, rather than a top fuel dragster with 2 speeds, we're running a 3-speed transmission on these cars, and they need that to get all the way down the quarter mile.
It is Denny Lucas away first. Denny Lucas has 0.05 of a second in the bank off the starting line, and there you see that differential. A full car length, a 640. Nice number for Denny Lucas. 400 behind. It's Alan Johnson at 644. Both again run 213 miles per hour.
So who will face Denny Lucas in the final round? Will it be this man, Eldon P. Slick, as he brings his Top Alcohol Dragster forward and does that classic burnout with a great deal of verve and power? Or will it be Bruce McDowell in his Streamliner?
Well, Paul, Bruce McDowell has lane choice. He's in the near lane. But I doubt that that's going to be a factor here. This track seems more than capable of handling the kind of horsepower alcohol cars generate. Let's check in with Denny Lucas, see how he feels about the situation.
Denny, you came out nice and hard there.
Well, it's still doing what we want it to. Just one more time.
When you climbed out, you said, I hope I didn't hurt it.
Well, we're just, you know, we're running it a lot leaner than I like to. I mean, it just kind of worries you. You know, we got one more pass and no spare motor with us this weekend, so it's, you know, we kind of have to work on our stuff real gingerly.
One to go, as you say.
One to go.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Well, they're running it as lean as they can because that's when they make the most horsepower. But if you cross over the line, instead of an engine, you've got a bomb behind you. Well, here's the streamlined car of Bruce McDowell. A lot of teams in the last few months have abandoned this kind of concept, feeling that the windshield and the nose piece and all just way too much. That, in fact, it outweighs any aerodynamic advantages those pieces may have.
Of course, all of racing is compromise. Finding out what you can add that will help you aerodynamically, but if you go too far, then, as you just suggested, it's too much weight. It doesn't work out there. The real job of the designers and the crew chiefs is to figure out what works without working so much else into the equation.
Well, Eldon P. Slick looks over at Bruce McDowell as if to say, are you ready? McDowell says yes. He signals that by moving forward. The small little front wheels, those are actually airplane wheels, a nose gear off of a small airplane. The more conventional front wheels on the far side with the solid tires, there's no pneumatic tube inside, and that keeps the tire on the wheel. Here we go. The final race in the semifinals of Alcohol Dragster. Neither driver moving in. Finally, McDowell does, followed by Slick, and it's Eldon P. Slick away first. Eldon gets close to the center line, almost crossed it. Bruce McDowell will go into the final round. Oh, boy. And he'll go in with lane choice by a mile. 635, 216 miles per hour. He is the muscle now. Those numbers prove it. Bruce McDowell, what a win over Eldon Slick. McDowell making some big noise in the desert today. His 635 establishes him as a big favorite over Denny Lucas, and those are the two drivers vying for the Winston World Championship. Well, speaking of favorites, David Nickens has arrived in the competition eliminator staging lanes, and as always, they'll make a final check of the air pressure in those rear slicks. A pound difference tire to tire can get you in big trouble. Well, here's a man with very few problems. Bruce McDowell looks strong in the alcohol ranks.
Bruce, 635, 217 puts you into the finals.
That's great in this heat. That's probably low for today of all the dragsters.
Looks like you picked up an advantage there, though, in shaking tires on the other side.
Car left real hard that pass, and we put a new set of tires on it the last pass, and I don't think they quite seated right. And this pass they seated.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, Paul, Bruce is absolutely right. You can tell him he is the quickest of all the alcohol dragsters this weekend. Stay with us. We've got a lot to come.